What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in for another fantastic video. We got a lot today. NIO, NIO, NIO. Is it going to 300 or is it going back down to 25? God only knows. Let's go ahead and just look at different things. So when you hear certain people, talking heads on the internet, your TV tube, people on your chat, whatever, saying that something's overvalued, overpriced, it's always somewhat relative too. Like, hey, I think Disney World is a fantastic place to go. People might say, hey, Disney World's overpriced. I'd rather go to Six Flags. It's not really apple to apples kind of situation, but you kind of get the drift where I'm trying to follow here. So going into some of the key components of why NIO could be going to 300. And of course, we're going to be looking also on, you probably have already seen the short report from Andrew Left and Citron Research coming out, really just saying NIO is going back down to 25. So with NIO being one of the larger competitors in the overall Chinese market, I guess, again, in the Chinese EV electronic car market, it is a smorgasbord of other competitors in that area. NIO is getting a lot of the more of a mainstream notoriety, kind of giving itself the crown of the Tesla of China, and it's also getting some investments from Tencent and other various industries. With the short report coming out, basically stating that it's the stock is just running up due to FOMO and the sense of investors really not knowing what they're owning, and at the same time of the dropping of the Tesla Model 3 and Model Y within China could really cut into NIO's margin. So that's basically what they're discussing here. With NIO, it's a beautiful looking car. So the thing with NIO, which is kind of slightly different from other EV manufacturers, and it's really aligning itself with the Chinese government, the Chinese party, in the sense of having the ability to replace the battery. So basically, it's just like when you have your camera, you just take the battery out and you put a new one in. This is basically the same premise of how you would drive up to one of their facilities and bada bing, you would be able to get out and get one of those batteries replaced at the spot. They've said multiple cars have changed their batteries well over 500 times, and it's still being very reliable and great. That being said, this is an interesting time. Like, again, what's going to happen? Elon Musk has said multiple times where this is not the most efficient due to the lack of asset management, in the sense, again, like, how much space is going to take place? Like, are you going to have to do planned trips ahead? All kinds of different various logistical things that can cause a multitude of issues. Of course, Tesla stock and especially NIO stock have been a rocket ship, especially recently. We'll be looking here on the chart in a little bit that NIO stock has just gone off to gangbusters land, aka a rocket ship, and just continue to go higher here. Even that being said, this is the funniest thing that I've probably read in about 3 or 4 hours, that the largest U.S. pension bought up EV stocks of Nikola, NIO, and Zoom. And this is actually I think it was a Barron's or something kind of report. Basically, the California pension or retirement system basically has bought up a smorgasbord of NIO. They bought 381,000 more of NIOs, basically on its getting into the EV market. I also find it funny that they bought more Nikola shares, which we all kind of know the story there, but I guess the California retirement system knows something that we don't know. Again, this is a billion-dollar fund. So yeah, $400 billion in asset. So these are very, 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 very small purchases. So it's basically a very small amount. So, like, for example, they bought the 261 shares. Let's just put this at Nikola, which is currently trading around like $18-20. So we do 261, and then we're do 5, 4, 6 times like 30 That's only $7 million. Okay. $7 million. Okay. People are getting a little bit too cadoofled about this on $7 million compared to the 400 billion in asset. That's not even a drop in the water. So I find this a little clickbaity from them, but that's fine. Whatever. Again, it gets clicks, pays people's bills. So last but not least, we're going to be looking at, again, NIO as a whole company. They do have the aesthetic of the Tesla. They have that beautiful showroom vibe. You walk in, you look at the cars, you can design it from there, and they have these really cool capabilities of really making these innovative products. I've never sat in one or driven one like I have with Tesla, but again, it's going to be somewhat of a comparison in the sense of who's going to be winning the EV market. I think kind of being somewhat of a banana split here, meaning that I'm just going to cut right down the middle and cut the cheese and really go through the analysis of like, hey, this market is so large right now, and the TAM, or the total addressable market, is so large. I think that these can coexist for many years to come. And trying to have these individuals saying, this is the king, this is the loser, this is the winner, and this is the one that is going to get kicked to the side and get a swirly in the toilet, it doesn't make too much sense. Again, meaning that especially in the Chinese market, it's one of the largest markets, especially trying to expand into Europe and of course here in the US. You see Teslas everywhere. You have GM coming out with the Hummer. You have Ford coming out with their new truck. This is going to be a huge skew. This is going to be creating some competition. But if anyone knows anything about business, once you create competition, it kind of brings some of the winners to the top. And we'll have to see on really which one of the companies will be able to float to the top in the sense of times of really true competitive natures within the market. We'll definitely see on who is able to sink or swim and really see who's going to be able to come to the top, especially not just really in very niche markets. The EV market's here to stay. You've seen with the Chinese market saying that they're going to be giving breaks and giving money to companies who are able to change out the batteries. Because again, look at this car. Most people in a dense city do not have access to a plug. So they have street parking, or they have some kind of parking in a garage, and running outlets and things like that are not going to be the most capable thing. So if you have a gas station-ish like thing where you can drive up, get the battery replaced, and you're going to be on your way, that's basically somewhat, I think, be some kind of future in that sense. Or like Tesla's going through, be able to supercharge something so fast, it's basically like filling up your tank as of right now. So that being said, that's basically what we're looking here on the fundamental side of things. I'm not the world's largest fundamental investor, but it tells a great story with NIO is going to be going to 30, or is it going to go to 300? I'm going to be the optimist, and I'm going to be saying we'll see, but I think NIO has definitely some room to run to the upside. I don't know about what's going to happen next week with earnings. I think overall, the market of EVs will continue going up with an upward trend and kind of a bullish pattern. So we can go ahead and switch to the chart. So we're looking here at NIO on a weekly chart. Just look at this beautiful thing. Like, this thing is a kind of just doing like a plank here. Again, I hate doing those. I've been getting back into working out. And look at this thing just kind of just like do a pivot and just like, okay, rocket boosters engage in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then boom, off to the moon here, jumping from basically $3.69 up to the $54 that we just saw the other day on Friday. Especially with earnings coming out, got to be very mindful of that. Again, if you understand anything about earnings, it's a coin flip. It could be, things could be said, things could be looked at, things can be skewed. A little bit of hesitation there. Will I be buying straight calls into earnings? No, that would be not very well advised there. Especially when we're kind of bringing this down to a daily chart, it still looks like the same thing on the weekly chart, because again, this has just happened in the last year that the stock has really extremely just taken off here. With this movement here, again, if you're not familiar with the charting here, the white line is the 5 EMA, the pinkish line or purplish line is the 8 EMA. If a stock trades in between those two moving averages there on a daily side, it has a lot of momentum to the upside, and it's really fast movers, a very aggressive trend upwards or downwards, especially with this one really projecting to more of a extreme bullish side. But we're hitting some potential overhead resistance again. We talked about Andrew Left and the Citron report coming out and kind of giving it a little smack around, but it really didn't break the trend. It didn't. It kind of hurt its stride a little bit, but it's continued to go higher here. Some people asked on what I would be doing for NIO for like trading or anything like that. More or less for earnings, it's going to be a coin flip. If you want to be a little bit different, you can be selling some premium here. There's a lot to go around by premium. If you know what it means, you can be selling puts. Again, we're using Tastyworks here. This is what I use to trade stocks and trade options. Affiliate link down below. Definitely check it out if you're interested in taking your trading and investing to a professional standpoint. With Tastyworks here, we're going to be looking again just for these options going out again. They're expecting a move that's going to be quite significant, which is actually not coming up here. Okay, so they're saying about $10 move plus or minus. So that basically saying, Tastyworks does a fantastic job on highlighting this orange little bar here. So you could sell maybe a little bit lower. I would go to like the 33 here and potentially going up to here. A lot of premium in these. Look at that. It's a lot of juice to squeeze, a lot of lemon to squeeze out of those. With that, you can get about $278 out of some buying power affected there, slightly higher, but that is something to be looking at. So let's go, maybe actually change this. Yeah, so that seems about relative there on that premium. You can do some iron condors. You can do it $5 wide. That basically kind of justifies a potential kind of putting a cap on it, so you're still getting a little bit of a premium. So this is actually not a world's craziest trade, but something to kind of be mindful about. Again, you're playing weeklies here, so be very mindful of that. 75% of probability of profit with the max profit of 116 with a max loss of 384. So interesting, right? Not too crazy there. If you want to be great YOLO player and you want to be straight Wall Street bets, you're probably going to be buying something like very cheap, maybe like the I don't know. Someone probably would buy like the $65 call here and just like hope and pray that it gets up to these levels. Again, the stock was at $55 on Friday, but it came down substantially due to the short report. Not saying it can't jump higher, but somewhat of a move's already baked in. Would I be buying the $65 call that's expiring next week? It's not ill-advised. I'm not saying it can't happen. You're just giving yourself like a 4% probability of profit. So that's something I don't want to be playing with. I don't want to be a gambler here. If you want to be taking that a little bit more seriously and you want to actually invest in NIO, like let's say like, hey, I got some money, Ken, and I want to put in some NIO stuff. Best thing to do is just really go some longer dated leaps, going some longer dated leaps and actually buying in at some reasonable higher delta prices. You're seeing there's a lot of open interest at these calls that are in the money. So like, for example, if I wanted to own 100 shares of NIO, okay, with 796 days out, I can buy the $10 call for about $3,700, okay? Do you know how much it would cost to buy 100 shares of NIO right now? Again, it doesn't pay a dividend, so it doesn't really think. It would cost you about 43. So you get a slight bit of a discount. It has a very high delta, so it trades in tandem of the stock really. With 796 days out, your theta is basically somewhat next to nothing. There's theta still there though, which is the time decay, but with such high delta and the correlation between the delta and the overall movement of the stock, very close. So if you wanted to own it with a little bit less capital intense, would be around by a little bit of capital intense. We're talking about I just did two of these. So with 100 shares, it would be around 43, and if you wanted to do the $10 call, which would be around the 37. So a little bit steeper, a little discount of like 25-30% less of capital. And if this does move, this could have a substantial amount of movement in the options here. Again, since you don't really, you can own the shares, you can sell at any time. Same with this option. It just depends on what your cup of tea is. So before this video goes on for about 35 minutes, definitely want to let everyone know, thank you for coming out. Thank you for watching. We are having a live stream tonight. We're going to be doing it potentially at 9 p.m. Definitely look out and look on the YouTube tab on the channel and seeing what the video is going to be live, depending on dinner, family, and things like that. I always want to make sure that I'm upfront with all the viewers as well. Come out. We're going to be talking charts, looking at fun things, and so forth. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor. Catch you guys on the flip side. Peace!